I know if I can hit it from behind though. I'm sipping on you like some fine wine though. And when it's over, I press rewind though. Ay, you talk the bands, girl, I got it. Benjamin's all in my pocket. I traded in my truths for some robbers. You playing Batman, he's gonna rob her. Ay, I got a Glock in my Rari. Ay, 17 shots from 38. Ay, I got a Glock in my Rari. 17 shots from 38. She's mine. Wonder when she'll be mine. She walk past like praise rewind. See that as one more time.
Dad, is it starting soon? I don't know. I gotta connect that chat. I gotta connect that. Hold on.
Tell me what you see.
Yo, what is up? Hold on. Yo, what is up, people? How you guys been? Yo, bro. When you thought I wouldn't support Goats, homeboy? I don't know. I thought you wouldn't. Because people low-key. People low-key don't be supporting nowadays, even though support is free. But yo, what's up? How you are? I swear, I'm illiterate as hell. How you is? Like that's any better. Let me pause this. Yeah, how we feeling? Dude, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Locks a bit tight. They are a bit tight, but you know, we're gonna ignore that. I know I want to go to DreamCon July 9th, but I might be in Florida. Like, so I might be in Florida. I might go to DreamCon. I don't know. Look, like I want to go to DreamCon, right? I always wanted to go to an anime convention, but I never went to one. Yeah, I'm gonna be traveling no matter what, but isn't DreamCon in Texas? If I'm not mistaken, it's in Texas. Bro, like I really want to go to DreamCon. Like that's a place where I need to be. DreamCon? That's for me. Like that's for this nigga right here. Like if it ain't like I just need to Yo, Sky, where you been? Where you been? Where have you been? Like if I go to DreamCon, yes, I'm going to cosplay if I go to DreamCon. Like I might not listen on me, but I do cosplays. I put them off well. Yeah, I will cosplay, but as for what, I don't know. I can cosplay an elf, an anime character, or I can do Astafo. You know, give me a pink wig, some thigh highs. I can do Astafo. I can pick it up. Odie. I'm not sure if you're trying to say, are you trying to say Odysseus? I think Odysseus is someone else be Poseidon. Yeah, but who will be Poseidon? Yo, then Gold can be Gold can't be Poseidon. He's too chopped for that. Gold is too chopped to be Poseidon. How'd I tell you I'm not a fanboy? I'm not a fanboy. That Astolfo comment, scratch it. Scratch that Astolfo comment. Do I got a girlfriend? You see, that's where no, I don't got a girlfriend. This nigga single. This nigga is single. But hey, all I'm saying, China McClain, if you somehow see this, hit your boy up. Or Zendaya, who knows? Like you don't need to be with Tom Holland, right? Why won't you be with Miles Morales? Screw Tom Holland. Get with your boy. But nah, I don't got a friend. I got any homeboy? Yeah, I got homeboys. I do have some like female friends. Most of her call ends up my homegirl. But I don't know. Why? Why you ask that? Nigga, I am not no bum. Who are you calling a bum? Who are you calling a bum? Cause it ain't me. I ain't the one. I ain't a bum. You tripping. You tripping. Don't play on me like that. Don't play on me like that. Saying you might be a bum. Dang, these locks are tight. You and your wife are doing in Katara. Please tell me you're Qatar, because like what you're commenting, it gives off useless vibes. Like Engin Katara, come on now. Out of everyone, Katara. You tell me you could have did so many. You could have did Sub-Zero and Katana. You could have did Naruto. Yes. What do you mean Holy Larp? You could have did Goku, Chi-Chi. You could have did who am I thinking of? You could have did Baki and his girl. There's so many you could have done. So many. But you choose Katara, Denji and Power, or Makima, Deku and Uraraka. Well, you chose Avatar. Freaking Avatar to everything. Like, come on now. I bring it up what? Chi-Chi and Makima? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let's not downplay my girl Chi-Chi. She's taking back shots from a Saiyan, a universal nigga. You know how hard that is? If she's taking back shots from a Saiyan, right? Who's on par with gods. And she can knock out her sons who can go Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan, right? Not talking about Gohan. How Gohan can go Beast. Chi-Chi can knock them around. She's not useless. And Makima, she can control you won't even know. How she's controlling Aki? Come on now. She's fighting the main villain with Aang. Yeah, but no. Look, Katara, like I'm admit, she has some good feats. But she ain't used them. What was Chi-Chi doing? What was Chi-Chi doing? She fought. We actually saw Chi-Chi. She had feats. She fought in a tournament of power. She can fight. She has key control. Let's not talk about Kid Chi-Chi. And when she was a teen, let's not talk about the fact that Chi-Chi, she can use Kaioken. Makima, I know. Makima, she is Guna material, but she is powerful. I ain't lying, I ain't LARPing. Who's we? Who is we? Which mean we don't like these bums. We? We ain't a thing. Why are you speaking French? This is America. Speak English. I didn't say tournament. Wait, that's a tournament. I did not mean to say tournament power. I mean the World's Martial Arts Tournament. She fought in the World's Martial Arts Tournament. And she's the Ox King's daughter. She's strong. Come on now. You are tripping if you're sleeping on Chi-Chi. Now, if I said Boma, okay. Don't call Chi-Chi a loser. Chi-Chi is not a loser. Chi-Chi will wipe the floor with Katara. Boma's a goat. All Boma has going for her is her smarts, okay? That's all Boma has going for her. She's very smart, and she's dating the Prince of All Saiyans, but she has no fighting feats. She has no feats like Chi-Chi does. React to Yuji versus Denji. Obviously, Yuji wins. And if Yuji don't win, that's a lie. Let's see this. Is it animated?
The $10
I might have found it. If it's animated, I found it. Is it by Death Battles? I know. I haven't switched screens yet. Rolling. I swear I can't see. The sun is hitting up my face. The sun is like blasting my face. Let's see this. Let's see this. Hold on.
Yuji versus Denji.
The Vessel of Sukuna versus the Chainsaw Man.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. If Yuji Itadori was one thing, he was strong. As his grandfather lay dying, he made Yuji promise to help others and not to die alone.
A promise Yuji would keep by joining Jujutsu High, a school for up-and-coming sorcerers training to...
Let's read this. Yuji Itadori, age 83? He's not 83. Height 5'8". Yo, I'm almost Yuji's height. Let's go. Wait, 167, 160, not 67, 70, 76 labs and 80 kilograms. Special grade sorcerer, former versatile of Romana Sukuna. You know, don't say 6'7" in my chat. Come on, let's not do that.
rid the world of curses.
Essentially monsters manifested by humanity's fears, hatreds, and anxieties.
Just one problem for Yuji. Unlike everybody else, he didn't have a magical curse technique. Oh no, he had something way worse.
After consuming a cursed finger, like a literal finger, Yuji became possessed by its original owner, the King of Curses, Ryomen Sukuna, the most powerful sorcerer in history.
And Yuji's willpower was the only thing holding Sukuna back from controlling his body, killing everything in sight, and taking over the world.
So Yuji got to know his surly new roommate, and perhaps one day he would show him a kinder, gentler path.
A classic shonen hero's journey if I've ever heard one. Yuji would track down and nosh on the rest of Sukuna's cursed fingers before they caused any more trouble.
Fulfilling his late grandfather's wish to use his strength in service of others, surrounded by friends.
Helps that he's getting a first-rate education from the strongest sorcerer alive today, Gojo.
Gojo would teach Yuji to harness and manipulate the absolutely absurd amount of cursed energy he inherited from Sukuna.
Cursed energy is basically like...
Let's see this. Abilities in Arsenal. I'm pretty sure he has a lot. Okay, let's see. Physical reinforcement, diversionary fist, black fast, reverse curse technique, binding vows. Wait, what are Yuji's binding vows? Yo, thanks for following, dude. I cannot pronounce that name for the life of me. Yo, W kick follow. Anyway, I can't pronounce that for the life of me. So what is his binding vows? I don't know, but we figure out. Okay, next. Birth techniques. New shadow style, simple domain, domain expansion, blood manipulation, convergence, and piercing. Wait, when did he get these? Am I not caught up? Cleveland dismantle. Are these Sukuna's abilities are his?
Evil key, and Yuji can use it to see invisible curses and enhance his already superhuman strength and martial arts skills he learned from his gramps, making him a monster in close quarters combat.
Yuji knows Taido, a Japanese martial art derived from Okinawan karate. It focuses on agility and flexibility with the inclusion of spins, twists, tumbles, drops, rolls, and fleet footwork.
Which he combines with jujutsu techniques like Divergent Fist. Yuji strikes an enemy so fast that his cursed energy takes a second to catch up, hitting his opponent twice and messing up their rhythm.
By perfecting that timing and applying cursed energy within 1 microsecond of a hit, Yuji can achieve the Black Flash, increasing the power of his hit by a factor of 2.5. A feat that would require reaction speeds nearly 1,000 times faster than sound.
It's basically impossible to do at will. You're so in the zone when you pull it off that it fully restores your cursed energy and boosts your output to 120%.
Yuji's Black Flashes are so strong in particular, the author himself stated that 5 in a row would have been enough to instantly kill the special grade curse Jogo.
Who did this? And this? And this?
How many has Yuji ever done in a row, you ask? 7.
And that's not even the nastiest thing about Yuji's punches.
Because another
7 black flashes in a row. How do I tell you, bro? Bro's him. Bro is him.
soul resides in his body, Yuji learned how to target the soul itself, doing damage to opponents who could normally regenerate from his hits.
Yeah, this pink-haired brat was a jujutsu prodigy, perfect for Gojo's dream. You see, it's lonely at the top, and Gojo wanted to train a crop of pupils powerful enough to share the burden of reforming Jujutsu society.
Until one fateful battle when Gojo was sealed away and Sukuna.
Some things are out of reach,
I'm on Mars!
but a card with access to exceptional benefits isn't one of them.
Ready to start a hands-on career? At University
Took over Yuji's body, then proceeded to, well, commit that whole mass murder thing he was always going on about.
Yeah, turns out Sukuna is evil. Like, really, totally, completely, irredeemably evil.
And it also turns out that every twist and turn in Yuji's life was orchestrated by the body-hopping sorcerer Kenjaku in order to resurrect Sukuna and bring about the curse apocalypse.
In Yuji's
I know I keep pausing it. You niggas are probably tired, but can we talk about how Kenjaku got himself cracked and became Yuji's mother? He turned himself into a woman just to get cracked. Like, hello? Can we, like, bro, let's be for real now. Now, Yuji is strong and he's technically part cursed, but come on. You can never catch me doing something like that, ever.
something he was completely responsible for. And so, having failed his grandfather,
He took Yuji's mom's body, right? So if you take someone else's body, right, you're turning into that person. Therefore, he turned into a woman. You can't convince me otherwise. By taking her body,
Yuji's outlook shifted.
No longer would he fight to protect others, but to kill curses.
And after Sukuna hopped bodies into Yuji's best pal Megumi, the King of Curses became numero uno on Yuji's shit list.
Yuji's defeated powerful disaster curses like Hanami and Mahito, survived being slammed so hard he cratered the earth, and is comparable to sorcerers like Maki, who tanked getting rammed through entire mountain ranges.
Yuji also learned how to use super advanced abilities like reverse curse technique to heal himself from crazy damage, like getting his torso shredded into chili. Ugh.
And in some other sorcerers' cases, even regrowing lost limbs.
Though it takes a lot of energy to regenerate blood, so after going on a cursed object feeding frenzy, he learned how to manipulate his own blood to speed up his healing, or fire it like a blood beam. A poisonous blood beam.
All of that combined made Yuji just tough enough to finally take on the King of Curses, although greatly weakened after his victory against Gojo.
Rip. Literally.
Sukuna was still the de facto strongest being alive, but after hitting him with a Black Flash, Yuji actually copied Sukuna's main ability.
Gojo's plan all along.
This was Shrine. With it, Yuji can slice apart any surface he touches, an enemy's flesh, the ground beneath him, even the boundary between two souls in one body. Enough hits can even cause those two souls to separate.
Like a souped-up version of his normal punches.
Even better, Yuji finally gained access to the most powerful weapon in any sorcerer's arsenal, a domain expansion.
Basically, a pocket dimension created by the sorcerer where their ability will hit no matter what. No contact needed. If you're trapped in Yuji's domain, you're getting sliced to ribbons.
With all his power and training and righteous fury, Yuji severed Sukuna's soul from Megumi's body, freeing his friend from the demon's clutches. But not before offering Sukuna one last chance at redemption.
Which he rejected before dying because, well, evil. Leaving Yuji to grow into one of the most fearsome sorcerers in history.
Turns out the cursed objects that Yuji consumed made him part cursed and slowed his aging to a crawl, giving him decades of training and battle experience.
He's mastered blood manipulation, can pull off black flashes at will, and shredded entire cities apart with Shrine. Just like Gojo and Sukuna before him, he became the strongest.
But what actually makes someone truly strong? For Sukuna, it was the power to stand alone atop all others. But to Yuji, it was the opposite.
The only reason he had survived as long as he had was because of the mercy and sacrifice of his friends.
So Yuji brought together friends and allies, new and old, to create a world eventually free from curses entirely, fulfilling not just Gojo's wish, but his grandfather's as well.
Because if Yuji Itadori was one thing, he was strong.
Still strong.
Wiz, if there are two truths in this world, two universal constants, it's these. Life sucks and then you die.
Especially for the young boy, Denji.
Who was so poor and unlucky, he doesn't even know his last name.
With an alcoholic father forever indebted to the Yakuza, and a diet consisting of whatever garbage he could get his hands on, all Denji had in this world was his dog, Pochita.
Who happened to have a chainsaw sticking out of his face. Really putting the tear in Terrier.
Pochita wasn't an actual dog, obviously. He was a devil. Monstrous superpowered beings literally from hell that are created by and represent humanity's worst fears. In Pochita's case, literally the personification of chainsaws.
Oh, he's so cute. Who would be afraid of chainsaws? They're the most versatile tool in the world. Perfect for chopping trees, opening cans, massacring your foes.
Apparently, Pochita had no problem with that last part, as he and Denji hunted down and killed his devil brethren.
It's a tough job, but when selling your testicles won't pay off your dad's debts, it'll do.
That is, until Denji was cornered and forced to learn.
Look, Denji he may be poor, right? He may be poor, he may be a bum, but let's not disrespect my boy like that. We all struggled before. We have all struggled, right? He's just like us. Everything Denji did, we've done. We done everything Denji done. Right? We all ate out the trash. We all called this one girl mommy. We did everything he did. We barked like a dog. Denji's like us for real. He's our twin. Yes, we have. We all have. We all kissed a girl and she threw up on us. Like, we all did that. Yo, who's texting me? We all did that before. Who's we? We is we. We is we. Now we're not speaking French. We speaking English. It happened to all of us. We all got tricked by one girl, you know. She made us think that she liked us and stuff. Just to backstab us. He's like us. Denji represents us. Denji, that's our people. That's our people. Like, don't lie now. Don't lie now.
About those two universal constants. Life sucks, and then you die.
But sometimes, if you're really unlucky, there's a third option.
Born from his and Pochita's contract, a literal deal with the devil, Pochita would become one with Denji's body in exchange for Denji to live a happy life.
And so, the two
Bite-sized sustained energy to raise your bar. New Clip Energy Bites.
Welcome to Wix Harmony, where you and AI work together to build a unique brand. Your words
fused into a half-human, half-devil hybrid, the Chainsaw Man, aka a one-man, blood-soaked devil-slaying machine, the perfect candidate for the public safety devil hunters, led by this piece of work. With nothing controlling him but his raging teenage hormones, Denji would battle all of devil kind in the hopes of one day getting laid.
And he was a natural at killing, not getting laid. As the Chainsaw Man, Denji can slice through just about anything and generate new chainsaws from any surface of his body.
Or swing him around on massively long chains. Oh man, that's so cool.
It helps that Denji is incredibly powerful, capable of lifting and throwing cars, surviving being blasted through several buildings, and moving way faster than the eye can see.
And if he happens to get torn apart by some ornery devil, no biggie, because he can regenerate from just about anything.
Denji has survived being sliced to pieces, having his head torn off, being dipped in demonic stomach acid for hours, and even getting his heart ripped out.
Haven't we all? Chainsaw Man didn't regenerate his heart. Oh no, his heart regenerated a Chainsaw Man.
Even separating Denji and Pochita won't stop them. When Denji was stuck in this alternate dimension, he and Pochita still possessed a metaphysical connection.
With their stomachs.
While his healing factor can be overtaxed, all he needs to do is drink some blood and he's back to full health.
And considering that chainsawing devils apart is basically an infinite blood exploit, he almost never runs out, only limited by the violence-induced psychotic frenzy he enters in combat.
Well, he's not actually crazy. Denji might be, okay, definitely is an under-socialized moron led by his dick, but he's surprisingly clever in combat.
Almost always thinking outside the box and coming up with so dumb they're brilliant strategies to take on devils that should be too strong for him.
In short, Denji was the perfect soldier and was rewarded for his efforts with something that began to resemble a happy life. Aki, the stern older brother, Power, the bratty younger sister, and Makima, his boss and the girl of his dreams.
All Denji had to do to finally score with that dead-eyed redhead was to kill the most fearsome devils in existence, like the Typhoon Devil who created a massive hurricane, or the Bomb Devil who could blow up most of a city, or the Gun Devil who could travel around the world and kill over 1 million people in about 5 minutes.
But plot twist, he had to kill Makima too, because she was secretly the Control Devil, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Everything she told Denji was a lie. The happy life he created, the family he made, all of it was designed to be torn down.
All with one goal, to force Denji to break his contract with Pochita and become her servant. Order 66ing every devil she didn't like. But when Denji did break, Pochita took over.
Now, Pochi might look cute and cuddly, but the Chainsaw Devil is one of the strongest and scariest dudes in the universe, capable of tearing through hordes of devil hybrids like nothing.
More than enough to give Denji his opening to beat Makima by cutting her up into sashimi and eating her whole. A very similar solution to the Chainsaw Devil's most powerful ability.
Anything Pochita eats gets deleted from existence. Yeah, like it never happened in the first place. World War II? Gone. AIDS? Nada. Nuclear frickin' bombs? A light tasty afternoon snack, thank you very much. Forgive me, chainsaws. I knew not your power.
He also ate the Death Devil. Yes, Denji ate death, which means no one on Earth could die.
Oh, you think that's messed up? Let's talk about his next romance, Asa.
A sweet, shy, awkward girl, perhaps Denji's one true love, except for the fact that she shares a body with Makima's sister, Yoru, the War Devil.
Who herself is in love with the greatest warmonger of them all, the United States of America.
And Yoru was determined to use her love of the USA to drown the world in a ceaseless hurricane of blood.
Denji, buddy, you ever considered maybe switching to guys or something? Because every single woman you meet has tried to kill you.
It was in Denji's climactic battle with the War Devil that his and Pochita's bond finally matured, giving Denji full control of the Chainsaw Devil's power. A kind of Denji Man, I guess.
Which he used to kick the War Devil's ass. And she was no joke. Strong enough to shoot Pochita from across the globe with a near light speed 2-ton bullet from the goddamn Statue of Liberty. Better yet, Yoru was so powerful she turned Oregon into a sword. Yes, the state of Oregon. Crumple the entire landmass into a blade, fly it over to Japan, and swing it at Denji. And he matched its power.
She also threw the American flag at him. The one on the moon. You know, the moon in space. In seconds. And he dodged it.
With the whole world literally falling apart, Pochita realized that becoming Chainsaw Man made Denji's dream for a normal life impossible.
Something Denji was always too stubborn and selfish to realize until it was too late.
So Pochita did what any good dog would do. Eat himself and erase the Chainsaw Devil from existence, creating a new world without him and leaving Denji just Denji.
But maybe all this time, Denji was enough. Being Chainsaw Man could not save his loved ones, but being Denji could.
Because sure, life sucks and then yeah, you'll die. But while you're stuck in between, chasing your dreams with your buds can help make life worth living.
I need all the one.
All right, the battle's about to start. But first, pitch calls are back. Yep. Hey, I'm Chad, the voice of Boomstick. And we've reopened Death Battle pitch calls on the Death Battle store. It's
You can do this. You can be the first millennial in history.
time for a death battle!
Let's see this.
Oh man. Oh no. You're fine. This wasn't my fault.
I've never felt such weird cursed energy like his before.
Say your prayers.
You're a chainsaw curse?
Oh no! I'm the hero to all! Kicker of asses! Magnet to chicks! Half man, half devil! Chainsaw man! Let's finish this! Chainsaw instant death technique! Batter up, pink hair, punk ass bitch!
Wait for it. I realized you had two cursed energy sources in one body, so I separated them. Speaking of... Domain expansion.
You messed up, baby! Pochita and I are brothers! You'll never keep us apart! Domain expansion. Finally got you to stop moving! See? We can be smart too, huh?
Punk ass bitch.
Black Flash! Shrine! A human and a curse. Brothers. You don't see that every day.
All right, Pochita. I wonder if that burger place is still open.
KO! If Yuji Itadori was one thing, he was strong. Just not strong enough today.
Let's break this down into 4 chapters: their speed, skill, abilities, and power.
First off, who was faster?
Yuji's greatest speed feat is the Black Flash. In order to apply cursed energy within 1 microsecond of a strike, Yuji would have to move and react at over 900 times the speed of sound.
Insanely fast. But remember that time Denji dodged that flag that Yoru summoned from the moon? You know, the one that's over 200,000 miles away?
Considering Denji's position from start to impact, all while in the midst of a fast-paced battle, this must have happened in a matter of seconds.
It's over just like that. That's not adding up. Something ain't adding up. Somebody lying. Somebody lying. We gotta go back. We gotta go back.
You messed up, baby! Pochita and I are brothers! You'll never keep us apart! Domain expansion. Finally got you to stop moving! See? We can be smart too, huh?
Punk ass bitch.
Black Flash! Shrine!
Let's face it, most of us aren't gonna set foot on Mars.
I'm on Mars! It's freezing. I'm
If he was able to stop Bro's chainsaws, why did it cut him in half?
Shrine! Human and a curse. Brothers. You don't see that every day.
Okay, look, no.
All right, Pochita.
No.
I wonder if that burger place is still open.
KO! If Yuji Itadori was one thing, he was strong. Just not strong enough today.
Let's break this down into 4 chapters: their speed, skill, abilities, and power.
First off, who was faster?
Yuji's greatest speed feat is the Black Flash. In order to apply cursed energy within 1 microsecond of a strike, Yuji would have to move and react at over 900 times the speed of sound.
Insanely fast. But remember that time Denji dodged that flag that Yoru summoned from the moon? You know, the one that's over 200,000 miles away?
Considering Denji's position from start to impact, all while in the midst of a fast-paced battle, this must have happened in a matter of seconds.
We'll lowball it and say 10, though it'd probably have to be faster to use against Denji in a fight.
This means the flag must have been moving over 12% the speed of light.
Over 100 times faster than the Black Flash.
Now, Yuji has gotten significantly stronger since his adolescence, but we know for a fact that in Jujutsu Kaisen, relativistic speeds are something humanity has explicitly not yet achieved.
So it's pretty clear that Denji takes speed.
However, Yuji has made a career out of going up against enemies far out of his league by relying on his skill.
And what a career it's been! He defeated the King of Curses all before he was even an adult, and he continued to train and master his jujutsu techniques for decades.
Whereas Denji, while certainly a clever, unorthodox fighter, would often get by due to his sheer stubbornness and durability more than anything else.
With Yuji's greater experience and martial arts combined, he was definitely the more skilled fighter.
What wasn't as clear-cut was who had the better abilities.
Specifically, how well they can cut each other and how well they can heal from being cut. So I guess it's their cut ability.
Both could survive pretty insane wounds, though Denji's devil healing factor was superior.
The most Yuji has ever healed were some big slashes against his stomach.
And while other similarly powerful sorcerers like Gojo could regenerate lost limbs, Denji could regenerate almost all of his body from a single cord pull. That being said, Yuji's soul targeting attacks have done lasting damage against those with superior healing like Mahito.
Not just that, but literally splitting two souls apart. That's how he beat Sukuna, and he could potentially do the same thing to break apart Denji and Pochita.
However, it's not so simple. Sukuna was already severely weakened at the time, and it took Yuji several hits to separate him and Megumi.
And on top of that, even if Denji and Pochita were split up, we know they keep a metaphysical connection when apart. In fact, they were split up when they were fighting Makaba, and they had no problem rejoining. No reason they couldn't do it again here.
However, Denji's healing factor isn't unlimited. He'll need blood to heal eventually, and the range and speed of Yuji's slashes would force Denji to tank them to get up close.
Even if he could, Yuji's healing factor wouldn't last nearly as long against Denji's chainsaws. But then Yuji could back off, Denji chase him, and so on.
Like an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, neither had a clear edge in cut ability.
So what it ultimately...
They neither had a clear edge. Yuji had the edge. They didn't use any blood for Denji. I did not see Denji drink one drop of blood. Where'd he get the blood from? Because Yuji wasn't bleeding to the end. Somehow he was able to heal all this time? Yeah, somebody lying.
Came down to was power. Who could do the most damage and wear the other guy down first?
Yuji slicing apart an entire city is one of the most impressive feats in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. By measuring the clouds of dust created in his attack's wake, we can estimate he launched over 5.5 million tons of debris into the air. That kind of force is equivalent to over 3 megatons of TNT, comparable to a hydrogen bomb.
But unfortunately for Yuji, while he could cut apart a city, Denji was Oregon level.
The state of Oregon is the 9th largest in the Union by total area, nearly 100,000 square miles. By estimating its volume, Yoru compressed a mass weighing over 750 trillion tons. One swing from that sword would hit with an energy of over 30,000 megatons of TNT.
Which is like 10,000 hydrogen bombs. And not only did Denji survive a swing, he straight up overpowered it. That's insanely strong, but not inconsistent. Like the time Yoru fired that globe-spanning near-light-speed bullet from the Statue of Liberty.
Sure, Yuji's citywide dismantle was done casually, but so was Yoru crumpling Oregon. Yuji's dismantles would need to be 1,000,000% stronger to do significant damage to Denji.
Especially with Denji's OP healing factor too.
Denji takes the final edge in power. All Denji needed was one good hit to finish the fight. And with his far greater speed, it was only a matter of time.
What can I say, Yuji? Denji's just got that dog in him.
The winner is Denji, the Chainsaw Man.
Next time on Death Battle.
Subscribe and join as a member to...
At the end of the day, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Like, this makes no sense to me. This is killing me too because how? How? Like, that is dumb. I'm gonna crash out. I'm gonna crash out. Oh, shoot. I need to get my hairline done. I need to get my hairline done. But anyway, this makes no sense. Because why, in the absolute world, does Denji win? Like, they're hyping up Yuji, right? But Denji won because he tanked Sukuna. He was threatening to destroy the world basically, but he won to someone who just survived a constantly thrown at them. This doesn't make any sense to me. Like, no sense at all. Like, I need this to be explained. Jack, we can't be serious. Here, hold on. I just saw that. I don't have alert box for that. But anyway, yo. Sky went for the compliment here. Of course, I have to compliment someone right now. After I'm like pissed as hell. So we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do this. So look, guys. Guy here, my top fan. You know, they're the most beautiful, most smartest person I know. Like, they're looking smart, right? They're here all the time. You know, Scott said that's a lie. And, you know, it's like really look up to them, take after them. Right? Cause like, you know, they say they want me to stream, but almost I never hear another clip. So like, yeah. W up. I thought I got a new notification. I did not. But yeah, that fight, Denji should not win. Denji should not win. That fight was rigged. That was a rigged fight. Boo you.
See more Death Battle. Thanks.
Okay, and I'm looking at there's Gru versus Megamind. Yujiro versus Hinachi. What are these matchups? Generally, what are these matchups? These matchups make no sense. Oh, also, this is one Gideon video I wanted to see of him like catching predators, like low key. I want to be an EDP catcher sometime. I want to troll, like not troll, but like I want to try to catch I want to catch a PDF file. You know, I'm not gonna be like these other niggas just like beating on them. I low key I want to move like Gideon, like go up to them like, hey, what's up? I know you're not a bad dude. And then instantly call the cops on them. But I know with that dick, there comes like a lot of drama. Like people be hating when people catch PDF files. Like, why are you hating if they're doing these bad things? That doesn't make sense at all. Like, you're gonna hit on me because I'm catching these dudes, taking them off the street. Like, make it make sense. No, I'm taking this off. Screw it. Like, wait, do I got a widow speak? Hold on. No, that's just not lead, right? Hold on. Something ain't right. You know, I just need a lineup. I just need a good lineup and I'm good. That's all I need. All I need is a lineup. You see the hair longer than goats? Like Lucky? I'm kind of like Tyler. Tyler didn't want to interview Gold, but he would want to interview me. Like, both of her used to be boneless. But not like, it's a fine. This that 4C hair. Like, so Tyler, if you want to talk to me, you know where to find me, Tyler. Yo, what's up to the 3 people on YouTube? Tyler, I'm here. Catch me outside. Wait, hold on. Tyler, you do need to catch me though. Cause imagine, look, guys, me streaming with Tyler. Not even that. Kai, alright. But the person who I do want to stream with, like, I really mean this. I want to stream with this person. Screw Kai Sinad, screw Rakai, screw Tyler, screw DDG, screw Dabo. There's one person I want to stream with. Look, you may not think it's a good choice. Extra Emily, I need to stream with her. I need to stream with Extra Emily. You may be thinking, why do you want to stream with her? Actually, I can't lie. I don't want to. She's low key my type. I match her energy. I need to stream with her. Okay. Extra Emily, you know where to find me. Actually, you don't. But hit me up. Like that's gonna happen. What's your show? You can't sit here and tell me Extra Emily's not cute. People be downplaying her. Like, they be playing on her face. I don't look for the Gideon video. You know what? Before I even get into the paired video, there is one thing I do need to see. It's about my unfortunate look-alike.
Years before music even started, when I was writing my first comic book, and it was this detective that...
It's for my unfortunate look-alike, you know. If you don't know who I'm talking about, if you don't know, if you're like, yo, who do you look like? Who is he talking about? I'll tell you. I'll tell you right now. My unfortunate look-alike. I don't look at him right now. At least I hope not. At least I hope I don't look at him right now. But usually people say I do. We're gonna react to this video of him. Let's switch over to that.
A murder that has become one of the most discussed crime cases of recent times is that of David Anthony Burke, who went by the stage name David. David was at the peak of his career. He dropped a high-charting debut album, he had millions of social media followers, and was significantly wealthy for a man only 20 years old. However, in September of 2025, detectives discovered the body of a 14-year-old girl that had been missing for months, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, in the trunk of his Tesla, decomposed, dismembered, and abandoned. And for months, people debated on whether they believed that this innocent-looking, clean-shaven young man with a melodic voice could do the things he'd been accused of. But now that David has been arrested for murder, and the prosecution have documented their evidence, the likelihood that this was some sort of setup has been significantly reduced. It became evidenced that David had a physical relationship with Celeste while she was still a child, and when they broke up and she allegedly threatened to expose the relationship to ruin his career, the prosecution believed he took matters into his own hands to protect what he'd built. But when you add the context that he made music constantly that included themes of blood, violence, and a romance that ends in tragedy, it's caused a lot of people to suspect that this outcome was something David always wanted. However, I'm not here to discuss theory and conspiracy. I'm here to clinically answer two main overarching questions. How did David's life engineer him to become someone capable of potentially murdering and dismembering a child? And if he did, then what mental mechanisms allowed him to carry on with life after the fact, knowing the body of the girl he was once intimate with was decomposing in his car? It's easy to just label him as pure evil and move on, but as a student of psychology, I find it crucial that we understand.
I don't think anymore. But when it first came out, like we didn't get all the evidence. I was one of those people that thought, like, wait, this doesn't make sense. But once all the evidence started coming out more and more, I was like, hold on, man, hold on. Let's take a step back. Let's take a step back. But now, like, since everything's over, right? We got all the evidence. It's like, come on, bro. Come on. Why?
And what happened to him in childhood, what were the warning signs, and figure out the why that surely exists in this story. There's a lot of questions I've seen online that I think I have the ability to answer by the end of this video. Answers that will give you a genuine understanding into the mind and psychology of David Anthony Burke.
I played it for her in the car. She was like, David, this song is too violent. You talking about killing people in your music? No, not my son. And I was like, wait, I might be onto something.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is cooked to order to perfection. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
My 7-year-old son, Daniel, was shot to death in his first grade classroom in Sandy Hook Elementary.
Kind of hungry.
Let's start from the beginning. So, you're a New Yorker.
New Yorker, Queens, New York.
What are your parents like? Are they musicians?
Not at all. My dad is a litigator for a law firm. My mother was a teacher. She doesn't do it anymore, but she does notary now.
David Anthony Burke was born in Queens, New York, to Colleen and Dawood Burke, two Christian parents that seemingly would give him a tough and controlled upbringing.
Everything we played in the house, music-wise, was just Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, gospel music, like classical stuff, instrumentals only. Like we didn't listen to any other music. There was no like Lady Gaga and all the popular artists everybody was listening to. We never could listen to that because my parents just wouldn't let us. It was just like straight classical stuff. It was literally nothing. It was all gospel and like classical, Mozart, Bach, like all that type of stuff. Because my parents wanted me to be really smart. They never like talked about college or anything like that, but they always wanted me to be very intellectual, very put together, have an idea what I'm doing, but they never like listen to music like that at all.
Trying to control what your kids listen to and the content they consume isn't necessarily harmful in and of itself, but if a kid is going to school and has no level of cultural relatability, it can cause feelings of being excluded, which in turn affects his socialization. If everyone got to access music and it became a point of discussion he couldn't involve himself in, it might have led to feelings of envy, and instead of David accepting this, he tried to find a way around it.
Did your parents put sort of a cap on what you could and couldn't listen to?
Nah, I was sneaking
around. It wasn't
around.
like that.
I had this little iPod. I got it with me right now too. I still got these. I used to sneak around with the iPod Touch. I used to sneak around with the iPod Touch and download things off iTunes and stuff like that.
The sneaking around his parents like this is consistent with reactance theory, proposed by Jack Brem in 1966. When perceived behavioral freedom is restricted, individuals are motivated to reclaim it. In these situations, the forbidden fruit, which for David would have been music, becomes more desirable, and the individual tries to acquire it by any means, even if it includes secrecy. Now, it's not the behavior itself that's necessarily significant, but the pattern it establishes, that authority is to be managed through concealment.
Now the theory of him killing her for his music career makes sense. So let's think about it real quick. If he's scared that, oh, she's gonna ruin my music career, the thing I worked so hard to achieve, I have to sneak behind my parents' back to make this, to achieve this, the thing I was never allowed to get access to, that I worked so hard to get. Of course, that makes sense now. I got into his mind.
Rather than confronted directly, this pattern would then reoccur later for his adult life. It didn't help David that his private school life in New York also consisted of bullying and teachers picking on him, so he had an uneasy time both at school and at home.
I hated New York at that point. Like,
why did you
I didn't
hate
like
it?
my school. I was at a
'cause
private school, and they treated me so horribly, dude.
Why?
It was insane. I don't know. All the teachers had it out for me. My little brother could testify to that too. Dude, they just had it out for me all the time. I don't know what it was. I would just do nothing to nobody, and the teachers would just pick on me and bully me for no reason, bro. I wanted to leave that place so bad.
And he got his wish as they moved to Houston, Texas, and he found it slightly better at his new school. But he was a kid that didn't really seem to find anything that stuck. His parents tried to get him into music, but it wasn't stimulating enough for him at that time.
She put me into piano lessons when I was 7, and then I quit that after a week. She was like, okay, I'm not gonna pay for it if you don't like it. Quit that. I went into she put me in a church choir when I was 8. Quit that. And then I was in middle school band when I was in 7th grade. I played the flute, and I quit that.
Parents who put a lot of pressure on their kids into doing things and certain stuff, like they'll do it, but they'll go to hate it, right? Or they'll go to resent you for that, or resent that one thing. or most times it will become their obsession, or become over obsessed with it. So parents, don't force things on your kids like that. You're gonna make them psycho.
But he never developed into a conventionally social child. He describes himself as a people watcher rather than a member of a friend group, sitting apart in cafeteria settings and constructing fictional narratives around classmates that they were unaware of.
At school, before I was homeschooled, like middle school, elementary, I would look at these kids, like at cafeteria, at lunch was like my playground, like my brain's playground. Like there's so many different kids and they're all doing something different. I would just sit there and I'm a people watcher. I would just inspect them and like write about them and stuff like that. And I kind of brought these characters to life that were inspired by my classmates. So every time I would write like a short story, I'd have these different classmates in these stories and they would never know. It's like different names and everything, but they were inspired by my classmates.
This preference to observe people and create these stories was an early marker that he had a natural tendency to see people as subjects for analysis rather than reciprocal social partners. Combined with his bullying in New York, it suggests he felt more inclined to exist on the edge of social bubbles rather than in them, present but not integrated, watching but not connecting. He says he began writing poetry in the 5th grade and pursued anime, gaming, and creative fiction from a young age.
Yeah, ever since I was young, I really just like anime, gaming, and poetry. That's it. I remember reading my first manga when I was in 5th grade. Dragon Ball, Tokyo Ghoul, and see these fantasy characters with powers and all that. That weren't superheroes, and that inspired me to start writing and write my own stories about them.
But just in case his parents couldn't give him any more reason to resent them, they took him out of public school, the only place he was getting any sort of socialization, the place where he was letting his imagination run wild, and they instead placed him on an isolated homeschool curriculum.
Transitioning from public school to homeschool was tragic. The first 2 years was tragic.
Tragic?
I was asking to go back to school almost every day. My brother too.
Was the decision to move from public schooling to homeschooling a difficult one?
It was, and it wasn't mine, it was my parents. So there's 2 different types of homeschooling in America. There's like group homeschooling, where it's parents that don't want their kids to be in public school environments, but they still want them to be in social groups. So they have you have homeschool kids that meet once a week at a specific place, and they play like extracurricular activities like basketball and stuff like that, so they can socialize, and they do the work on paper. And then there's a second homeschooling where it's just strictly on computer. That's what I did.
Step into Refresherland with Dunkin' Refreshers. Swing into flavors like berry acai, fruity and refreshing.
They didn't let him enroll on the socialized model involving group meetings with peers, but a fully computer-based, home-based program with no structured peer contact whatsoever. From a developmental psychology standpoint, this is the most significant single environmental factor in his profile. Erikson's 8th stage model identifies adolescence, approximately 12 to 18 years old, as the critical period for identity versus role confusion, the developmental task of forming a stable, coherent sense of self through peer interaction, social experimentation, group belonging, and the feedback of others. Removing a child from that process during its peak window doesn't simply slow development, it redirects it, and they don't develop normally. And the main damage that came from that cutoff was socializing. None of his peers stayed in contact with him following the transition, and he was all alone.
I thought I had a lot of friends in middle school. And then after being homeschooled, nobody's hitting me up, nobody's asking me like, where am I at? Why am I not coming to school today? It made me question like, what is a real friend? And do I have any of those as well? Especially when I was transitioning from public school to homeschooling and nobody
Bro, I hate how this guy's relating so much to me. I was never homeschooled. My siblings was not always listening about being homeschooled. I know COVID hit. But dude, nobody wants to be this like with someone who kills people, right? That makes you reflect like, oh my God. Like I'm glad I turned out a different way. Like I'm glad I got God in my life, right? Just think about this. This could have been you. Thank God it's not, but this could have been. People like him deserve rehab. I know people like saying, oh, put him to death and stuff. But no. He needs to go in rehab.
Hit me up on Snapchat when I was like streaking everybody. My snap score was like 250,000, bro.
And nobody hits you back?
Nobody, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like nobody, like, who, you're not at school, where'd you go, Dave? Like nobody. Like, did I really have friends? And you start to question things.
Oh,
like,
totally.
About your everyday life. It's like, who's really there for you at the end?
I mean, dude, homeschooling really takes a toll on a kid.
Isolation.
Yeah, and there's outlets like I know I made a couple friends now that were homeschooled, but they had like these groups that they would go to like bi-weekly and just to socialize. But I didn't have that. Like
David would start to feel a growing disconnect between himself and his age mates, and an acute awareness of experiences that he was excluded from. I've gone through his TikTok, and this was clearly what hit him hardest. He was emotional seeing homeschool proposals. He has another post titled, "What It Felt Like to Be a Homeschool Teen," and I won't play the audio for copyright reasons, but the lyrics go, "Everybody's falling in love and I'm falling behind," as he visibly shows his frustration at that fact. He missed out on having high school relationships, but had to watch everyone else get to have one through Snapchat. His former peers got to post relationship quotes and pictures with their partner, whilst he stayed at home, unable to do anything but watch. As the caption says, homeschool and being on social media 24/7 was not a good mix. In another post, he says his superpower is never being able to express my feelings properly because I was homeschooled and had no social life for 5 years. And on another, he says, I was homeschooled all my life. I never got to experience any school dances. When adolescents are denied normal peer socialization, the need for connection and belonging doesn't disappear. It finds alternative channels. In David's case, that channel was...
I always wanted to go to a school dance. I never had anyone to go with. Or like, I just didn't... It's not that I didn't have money to go, right? Like, I could have asked, right? You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best. Thank you. Anyway, like, I never got to go to a school dance, right? Like, I did want to go. I did want to go to school dances, but I never got to go to one. I never been to prom, never been to a winter formal, a Valentine's Day dance, none. And I've always seen these people go and talk about it like, yo, I went to hear me and my friends have fun and stuff. Like, it's not even about having a date to go. Even some of my friends didn't want to go with me. Like, these were supposed to be like the best years of your life is in school. But I didn't, even in my high school year, my final high school year, I didn't get to do any of the events because I moved. So again, I skipped prom, I skipped grad night, senior sunset, skip day, all of that I never got to do because I moved. Even in middle school, like dentists and stuff, couldn't go. So like definitely like being isolated and stuff will put you like in a bad mindset. Cause nobody, I feel like nobody should be isolated. No one should be like, taken apart from people, because that can really mess up their mental. Like so bad. Like mental health is important, but I feel like people forget that, especially in the Black community. Like we feel like we set off mental health, but that's something that does need to be studied more. Like, come on. But okay, I get that he was an awkward kid, right? He was like left alone and stuff, so the only thing he had in music, but there's so many other options you could have did. And then again, for the other part, high school love, just because you didn't get to like have your high school girlfriend or middle school girlfriend doesn't mean you go and date someone who's in that grade at your grown age. Lock in, David. Well, it's too late for you. It's too late for you, bro. It's too late.
The internet, specifically Fortnite, YouTube, Discord, TikTok, and eventually music. During his homeschooled years, David describes Fortnite as his primary social environment. He engaged in squad fields, which is where you're allowed to join games with strangers and talk to them if you have a headset and mic. And he allowed people to vent their personal problems to him.
Especially being homeschooled, not having a social life, right? So I'm on the game, I'm talking to all these random people, and they're talking to me about their life problems, using video games to escape the real world as much as I am, and then living my life vicariously through them, and like writing songs about their lives.
Yeah. I would go on Discord, and I would go on Fortnite, and I would go on like squad fills, and I just let people talk to me and just tell me about their lives. Because like most of these people that play video games the same way I do, they're going to it as an escape. So I was just being an open door and an open outlet for like my peers and my friends to kind of just like vent to me about different things in their like personal lives and stuff like that.
And I'm like 15, 14 at this time, so I don't know how to like be a therapist, right? But it's like I'm taking this information and all these different people talking to me about different like problems and situations. I'm like, wow, this is really what humans are like. Like, these are humans.
The fact he says, wow, so this is what humans are like, these are humans, tells me that this was the only way David was understanding human psychology at that time. This is a clinically unusual developmental pathway. Normally, an adolescent's model of human behavior is built through direct, embodied, reciprocal experience, like friendship, conflict, romantic experience, loss, etc. But David built his model of human psychology through a parasocial and semi-anonymous listening role, absorbing other people's problems through a gaming headset. This produces a specific kind of social intelligence, highly observational, empathically competent on an intellectual level, but fundamentally disembodied. He understands humans like a researcher understands subjects, not as a participant understands his peers. And that's going to be significant when evaluating his later relational behavior.
Gracie Abrams, the Look at My Life Tour, presented by Capital One.
Get exclusive Mortal Kombat 2 wallpapers for your PC.
So he was chronically online, seemingly addicted to video games, but being home alone that much allowed him to stumble across much worse vices. Later, in his own Discord server, David disclosed a sustained pattern of consuming gore content beginning at approximately 14 years old, following the accidental exposure to a cartel execution video. Gore is real-world violence and injury, fully uncensored, including death and murder, and he was discovering that and watching it repeatedly at 14 years old. He describes a progression from initial shock response to habituation, saying, "It got to the point where I don't even cringe when I see it anymore," to then developing a dissociative response, claiming he started laughing at one point, but then escalated to deliberate intentional use. "I watch gore to disconnect the part of my brain that feels empathy to the wrong things." We have something called an amygdala, which generates the brain's threat and disgust response to violence. Repeated exposure to graphic stimuli triggers habituation and desensitization. In simpler words, the threshold for what makes the brain want to cringe and look away rises because the stimulus is no longer threatening due to seeing it so much. What David describes in his Discord is consistent with this process in adolescence, whose prefrontal regulatory systems are still maturing and therefore less equipped to contextualize and contain the desensitizing effect. But what distinguishes David's disclosure from typical adolescent experimentation is that last part. He doesn't describe watching gore for entertainment or shock value. He describes it as an emotional engineering exercise, a deliberate attempt to modify his own empathic response. This level of intentionality about emotional desensitization in a 14-year-old is far from typical and represents a significant clinical signal. This would have been a major warning sign and red flag that David was gaining the ability to care less about human life. During that same isolated period, David developed an elaborate alter ego he called Itami, a Japanese word meaning pain.
I have this alter ego named Itami, which means pain in Japanese, and I'm heavily inspired by like anime and stuff like that. But that character that's in the music videos I make now was actually an idea that I had years before music even started, when I was writing my first comic book. And it was this detective that would solve his own crimes. So he was the good guy by day, and then at night he'd kind of transform into this alter ego and then commit crimes he'd solved the morning of.
But Itami isn't this artistic, creative concept he's come up with. David described it in multiple interviews as a character he intended to develop into his own manga, one who was explicitly him, a detective who committed murders and then investigated them himself.
Big part of that manga was an evil version of me, an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego, and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
Understand that there's a difference between normal fantasy and what David's doing. We all might fantasize here and there, maybe about obtaining a certain level of wealth or driving a certain car or whatever you guys care about. Escapist fantasy uses fictional scenarios to temporarily relieve stress and provide alternative experience. The psychological concept of fantasy elaboration, however, involves constructing increasingly detailed, immersive internal worlds in which the individual places themselves, not a character, but themselves, and which begin to function as a parallel framework for understanding identity and relationships. David explicitly inserted himself into this narrative. He is not the author of Itami. He's Itami's counterpart. They share an existence. He later described Itami as
the one that is weaving his way into my relationships and ruining them and inducing trauma and things like that.
This language suggests that the alter ego had become a psychological container for the parts of himself he wished to disown but had not eliminated. David transitioned into music accidentally in late 2021 after copyright strikes on his gaming content prompted his mother to suggest he create original music.
I started making music in like December 2021. I used to be a Fortnite YouTuber, bro. Like, it's so crazy. The only reason I started making music is because my videos got copyrighted, because I was using like Scissors music, Justin Bieber music, all that. And my mom was like, yo, if you're getting copyright strike, you're not making no money, make your own song. So I was like, bro, I could probably do that.
Because of his ability, I know he's able to play and do, so I said, just make your own music. And that was that.
So I kept doing it, and then it kind of just became this thing where the music was getting more popular than the Fortnite videos. My SoundCloud numbers surpassed my Fortnite videos numbers, and it was out of here, bro.
He had no prior musical ambition. What he did have, though, was years of accumulated internal material. The Itami fantasy, the observational psychology built through online listening, the poetry he had written since 5th grade, and a set of emotional themes like isolation, romantic destruction, duality that had no other outlet. Music gave that internal world a public form. It also gave it a socially legitimate one. Dark themes that are wrapped in musical craft don't register to us listeners as warning signs. They register as artistry. The same content that might raise concern if it was in a journal or a private communication is celebrated when it has a compelling melody behind it. David's own statements confirm that his early music was not drawn from lived experience, but from imagination and preparation.
When I write music about heartbreak and the sad type of things, I write it not from experience, because I was a really homebody, I was homeschooled, like I didn't have much of a social outlet like that. I write it in like preparation. I feel like when you commit to love, you commit to devastation as well. I think it's a mixture of like trying to figure it out myself and then looking at other people's experiences. I mean, 'cause I've never experienced like true heartbreak either. So I write all these songs in preparation for it, so I'm not devastated, you know? So I know what to expect.
He describes writing about heartbreak in preparation, having never experienced it. He states directly, I love over-dramatized themes of romance because it would never be like this in real life.
I love over-dramatized themes of romance because it would never be like this in real life, so it allows you to like have more room to play around.
The thematic content of his early catalogue in 2022, like Bleed Out in March, Dirty Secrets in May, Romantic Homicide in July, centers on romantic destruction, hiding dark secrets, killing a romantic partner, and feeling no remorse. Romantic Homicide's central lyric, which David explains in detail in a Genius interview, is constructed specifically around the active first person. Not just you died, but I killed you. He stresses the first person agency.
Which was in the back of my mind, but then you think that I'm gonna say you died, but I say I killed you. So it's not like the thought of her is gone by itself was something that she did, it was something that I decided to do. And I killed her in the back of my mind.
He also describes the back of my mind as the location of this act, which is precisely where he has told us that his fantasy lives. His mother's reaction to Romantic Homicide is very ironic, but also significant.
I showed it to my mother, and she was like, that song's too violent and too sad. You're not releasing it. My son is not gonna be talking about killing people in music. And I was like, I'm gonna take that as a challenge, low-key. I played it for her in the car, and she was like, David, this song is too violent. You're talking about killing people in your music? No, not my son. And I was like, wait, I might be onto something.
She identified something real in the content. He overrode her objection anyway and released it, and that song was the one that became his commercial breakthrough. The commercial success of Romantic Homicide is a pivotal moment in the psychology trajectory. David didn't receive any social correction for expressing violent romantic fantasy. He received validation, streams, a record deal with Interscope.
One thing about this, Romantic Homicide, I didn't think it was talking about killing, like actually killing someone. I thought it's like talking about killing emotions you had for someone. Hold on, let me go to my face cam. Like to me, I'm like, I'm gonna, well, hold on, let me look up the lyrics real quick. Let me go to the lyrics. Right? First off, when it says I'm scared, right? That's me thinking, I would have thought, oh, I'm scared to like express my emotions. That's what I thought. Right? This is, I'm giving you guys the rundown on like what I thought about this whole song, what I thought through this whole song. So I'm scared. I'm scared to express my emotions. It feels like they don't care. It feels like the person like doesn't care if I told them or not, if my emotions matter, right? Is he said enlighten me, like that's me thinking, oh, it's like me saying, yo, please validate my feelings, like enlighten me on like how I should feel about this and what should I do. Why am I still here? That's me thinking, why am I even still in this situation? Wait, I'm not even on the right thing. It's like, why am I even still in a situation, right? I don't mean to be complacent with these decisions you made. Like, that's me thinking, yo, like I shouldn't really care if you decide like not to tell me how I feel, like not to like you just departed the situation. But why? That answered itself. But why? I don't know why. As much as he says, in the back of my mind, you die. That's like making, oh, the thoughts I had of you, the feelings, the image of you is gone. It basically died. It's no longer there. Which I didn't even cry. I felt like that was him saying, yo, I don't feel for you anymore. Like, I feel like I should, but I don't. Not a single tear, obviously. Like, there was nothing. I felt nothing. Such nothing. I couldn't even express it. And him saying, I'm sick of pacing for someone who I won't even ride. That was me thinking, oh, him saying, yo, I'm sick of trying to explain myself to you. I'm sick of wanting you there just for you to be distant, just for you not to not to talk to me, like not to reciprocate how I feel. I didn't skip that. In back of mind, I killed you. That I thought that was from him just saying, I'm setting you aside. You're gone. And again, he didn't regret it. So, romantic homicide, that was a rundown of it. But I guess I was wrong.
And multi-million-dollar career momentum.
I get the first email from the labels. I showed them, I'm like, all right, my mom has to hear about this now. I was like, there's no way I can like sweep this under the rug. I'm getting really famous right now. And then I meet with Interscope, who I eventually signed with, and I meet on my team, Mogul Vision for management, that I signed on management. And then at that point, it was just time to push the button.
From a behavioral reinforcement standpoint, this is near optimal conditioning. The behavior, which was externalizing dark fantasy through art, produced the outcome most desired by someone with his developmental history, which was belonging, recognition, status, and the experience of being known without truly being seen. Because not only did he blow up in music, but that coincided with social media fame, like TikTok, where he got tons of engagement. But looking back on that, those fans were engaging with someone who wasn't even their true self, and who never took the mask off.
I got me as the artist, David, D4VD, Itami, which is the antagonist. He wears a blindfold. My gaming character is coming soon. He is like the one that's super tech savvy and stuff like that. And then my social media persona, which is also being built out as we speak. And that's the 4.
He constructed an entire identity architecture around himself with those 4 defined personas: David the artist, Itami the antagonist, a gaming persona, and a social media persona, none of which were David Anthony Burke. The actual self was not among them. What researchers describe as identity diffusion, where the boundary between constructed persona and authentic self becomes genuinely unclear, appears to be happening here. The masks were not overlaid on a stable self, they may have become the primary mode of self-experience. So David from early on learned how to switch between characters. In private, he could be this antisocial kid with dark fantasies. In interviews, he could sound smart and sophisticated. And on TikTok, he could do his best to be relatable and goofy to his audience. That ability to switch became something that we now potentially know might have helped him deal with the consequences of his future actions.
Again, I can't answer with him because like
Chewy Pharmacy makes it easy to order pet meds, which Enzo loves because he likes everything the easy way.
Like for me, how the way I act around church people, my family, friends, how I act on stream, He's really making us people seem so bad. I can't.
Years old,
I can't.
he was 16. This reportedly happened on Fortnite, which would be consistent with how David got his social interaction when he was homeschooled. The prosecution documents confirm a physical relationship began in November 2023, when Celeste was 13 and David was 18. So they knew each other online for almost 2 years before ever becoming intimate. This is purely my opinion based on available context and evidence, but I don't believe David sought out Celeste in a predatory form, looking for a minor specifically because that's what physically attracted him. The fact he was only 16 at the time and was being homeschooled makes it completely plausible that the relationship began as some kind of intense online companionship, where he was just happy to talk to someone, with age not being one of his concerns. I believe they started off as friends who confided in each other, made jokes, and wasn't started off in any inappropriate nature. What changed it is the question. The evidence that the prosecution are bringing forward documents a pattern that David was grooming Celeste in stages that got gradually more intense. The first thing he did was make her feel special. He released a romantic homicide music video on Celeste's birthday. He then recorded a song titled Celeste in December 2023, expressing deep personal obsession, and he continually maintained her presence in his Discord server. The song Celeste references the girl with my name tattooed on her chest, a detail that subsequently materialized in reality when Celeste had his name tattooed on her finger and shared it in the Discord server in July 2024. He also never publicly posted her on social media, but would post pictures where she's present but not identifiable, or captioning posts referencing having a girlfriend to show his fans he was in a relationship, which gave his romantic music credibility. Another thing he did was use financial control. Prosecution documents confirm that after Celeste's parents removed her phone from her in February 2024, David drove to Lake Elsinore where she lives and paid a classmate $1,000 to provide Celeste with a new phone he had purchased so that they could maintain contact. This was done after law enforcement had directly informed him that she was a 13-year-old runaway. Despite her parents and law enforcement trying to stop David from connecting with her, he chose to go around them anyway. He then isolated her from her family and support system. There's debate on whether Celeste had the best home life in the first place.
Hold on. Wait, look. I sound like Rakai. So the police told him, like, I need you guys to lock him real quick, okay? The police told him she's a 13-year-old runaway. They were like, hey man, she's 13, she ran away. No, let me ask this out. Hey man, this girl's 13, she ran away, and we don't think you should talk to her anymore, right? He's like, I bet, I'm gonna still do it anyway. Oh well, we can't stop you. Then, a few years later, she ended up dead in the back of his truck, and they couldn't prosecute him for how many months now? For how many months? If you guys knew he was doing this from the beginning, the law enforcement knew, her parents knew, her friends knew, why didn't they stop him? Why didn't they enforce it more? And now they wonder why. We wonder why she's young. Rest in peace to her soul. But if you guys knew, y'all didn't do anything to stop it. It's the police fault, her parents' fault, David's fault, her friends' fault, his parents' fault. This is all alleged. But if you guys knew, you could have stopped it. You could have did better. I'm sorry, but that just got me heated.
But David definitely capitalized on that and took advantage of her vulnerability. Throughout 2024, the prosecution documents confirm that Celeste spent significant time at David's Hollywood Hills residence, accompanied him to Las Vegas, London, and Texas, and was repeatedly reported missing by her family. This pattern of running away is consistent with successful grooming. The victim's primary attachment has been displaced towards the perpetrator. David had become the new safe place in her eyes, which is really sad to think about in hindsight. Another thing David desired was surveillance and control. It could be for humor purposes, so take it as context rather than fact. But in January 2024, after they'd started a physical relationship, he posted TikTok with the text on the screen implying a partner telling him that she will swallow an AirTag so he gets to know her every move. It seems playful on the surface, but with the context we have, he's describing a desire for a constant location surveillance over a minor. On January 11th, 2024, David did a Twitch stream, but he had Celeste in full view of his audience, right there in plain sight. She was wearing a hoodie and glasses to perhaps conceal suggestions at her age, and they seemed to be doing a cooking stream.
Season it? It's already seasoned, bro. It's Alfredo.
I'm yet to find the full stream, but
I'll be right back because it's getting hot. I need to go get a fan. This fan on my roof, it ain't doing it. I'm sorry, it ain't doing it. So I'll be back.
something gets said beforehand.
Oof. I'm back. How'd I tell you? I needed this fan right here. It's too hot. Let me take off this jacket too. Because California, once it hit the summer, it's either cold or hot. This one is the hot years.
And the comments start saying things like, pray for his career, chat. You're done for, bro. Nah, you going on the Epstein list. There's no escaping this, bro. Caught you in 4K. All messages that allude to the chat realizing that David is allegedly. David reads these comments out aloud and questions Celeste. Are we done? To which Celeste says, we need to delete this.
Pray for his career, chat. Are we done? Are we?
We need to delete this.
Are we? Maz, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too? Can we delete everything? You done for, bro? Y'all are not done? Now you gonna Epstein? Wait.
You see the instant panic in David because he's tried to keep this relationship a secret, and this was the closest he'd gotten to being exposed. The chat continues with David and Celeste Island trip and David Epstein flight list. But something else gets said, and David puts his hand firmly on Celeste's shoulder and says, I media trained you. To which she replies, no, you didn't.
I personally don't.
I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
He says that's controversial, and she questions him with something that almost exposed his secret to the world.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Try a whole world of delicious Dunkin' Refreshers.
Dragon Ball Legends. Choose between hundreds of characters. Get ready for the battle. Here I come.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah. Oh my. Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
She seemingly regrets saying it straight away, and David ends the stream. Of course, I have to preface that streaming clips get taken out of context all the time. What we don't know is what was actually said beforehand, and the chat could have been referencing something completely different. But what we do know is that David was making attempts to media train Celeste, in his own words. Due to him understanding what he was doing was wrong, this is an attempt at power control, because by giving her instructions on how to act, she's molded to become more obedient. It's crazy that this Twitch stream is almost a mirror of what the prosecution are alleging David did to Celeste over a year later. When he was on the verge of getting exposed, he tells his mods to delete everything, to physically discard of the evidence so that no one can find out the truth. He did what he needed to maintain control over the narrative, and panics when there's a risk of the mask slipping. Prosecution documents state that Celeste and David broke up in November 2024, though text messages confirm a continued contact through to at least March 2025. The documented text exchanges describe Celeste growing distress at the nature of their relationship. She messaged, according to prosecution filings, "All we do is have sex and just hang out, man. I want more than that for myself." If you notice, the prosecution frames this as evidence of David's manipulation. This is because of the context that is supposedly surrounding this message. The prosecution's argument is that David had deliberately led her to believe that they had some sort of future together, that she was his girlfriend, his partner, someone he was building something with, specifically in order to maintain physical access to her and her silence. She was emotionally invested in a future I don't think he actually planned to give her. Now, before we proceed, I have to reiterate, because I know how soft the YouTube guidelines are when it comes to active cases and demonetization, but David is only alleged to have murdered Celeste Rivas Hernandez and has pleaded not guilty. So take what I say next as opinion, as rumors, as theory, but not fact, because his behavior over 2025, if not guilty of the murder, just looks like normal behavior. But that's also the problem if he is guilty, because only a psychopath could do what's been done to Celeste and go about life as normal. On the night of April 22nd, 2025, prosecution documents describe a lengthy argument conducted over text messages. Celeste had become aware of David's relationships with other women. Although they supposedly weren't in a relationship anymore, this triggered Celeste, and she threatened to expose their relationship publicly and destroy his music career. His debut studio album, Withered, was scheduled for release April 25th, 2025, so 3 days later. On top of that, he had a multi-million-dollar career, active endorsements, and a world tour booked. The prosecution alleges that at approximately 8:40 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, David ordered an Uber to transport Celeste from her Lake Elsinore home to his Hollywood Hills residence. She arrived at approximately just after 10 p.m. The prosecution alleges that shortly after her arrival, David stabbed her multiple times and stood by while she bled out, making no attempt to call emergency services. At approximately 11:30 p.m., he drove north on the 101 freeway to Santa Barbara County, texting and calling Celeste's phone as he drove, a pattern the prosecution characterizes as a deliberate attempt at a cover story. He returned home early on April 24th, went to a radio interview for the album, and attended the album release party later that evening. The prosecution then documents evidence of David's poor attempt at concealing the crime and dismembering her body, which he then left in the front trunk of his Tesla.
Burke placed her body in the inflatable pool he'd ordered to prevent her blood from spilling onto his garage floor and used a chainsaw to cut off her limbs.
Surveillance footage confirms David drove his Tesla for the last time on July 29, 2025, before parking it on Bluebird Avenue in Hollywood Hills and departing for his concert tour. And this is the alleged story we have so far on how David potentially murdered Celeste and then continued with life like nothing happened. The following analysis I'll give is based on if the evidence presented by the prosecution is factual and proven, and is just my opinion. But the first thing that I believe to be true is that David demonstrates a dark triad personality. The dark triad is a mix of 3 personality constructs: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, identified in psychological literature as co-occurring and collectively associated with manipulative, exploitative, and callous interpersonal behavior. And I believe all 3 appear relevant to David's documented behavioral profile. Narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, is characterized by grandiosity, a persistent need for admiration, entitlement, and a lack of genuine empathy. Subclinical narcissistic traits, which don't meet the full diagnostic threshold but are clinically meaningful, are observable in David's behavior across multiple domains. The construction of an elaborate multi-persona identity architecture, the use of a child as a participant in his artistic and fantasy world, the apparent expectation that normal rules, including the laws, didn't apply to him, and the documented use of financial resources to purchase compliance from multiple parties, like Celeste's classmates and potentially others, rather than just accepting social or legal constraints. He continued pursuit of Celeste after direct law enforcement contact, despite being explicitly told that she was a 13-year-old runaway, which just demonstrates how important he thought he was. Narcissistic individuals frequently exhibit a belief that ordinary legal and social constraints are obstacles that apply to others, but not them.
I wanted the word cuppa, as in cup of tea, I thought it would be great to mix with pug. When I saw the domain was available, I was like, I'm taking it, I'm trademarking it, I'm going with it. Hi, I'm Aaron, I'm the owner of Cuppa Pug. We are not a traditional cafe. When I saw Cuppa Pug go live, that's when it all clicked. Huh? Was that nice?
Hi, it's Mark Barden from Sandy Hook Promise. The shooter who murdered my sweet little Daniel brought an AR-15.
Machiavellianism refers to a strategic, manipulative orientation towards interpersonal relationships. In simpler terms, using others as instruments towards personal goals, maintaining multiple social presentations simultaneously, and planning several steps ahead in your devious plans. David's documented behavior across the 2022 to 2025 period is consistent with this profile. The staged disclosure of his relationship that was sufficient to lend his music credibility, but not enough to expose it, the financial management of witnesses, the claimed media training of a minor to manage his public perception, and the fake name he used on the Amazon purchases when trying to cover his murder trail. Psychopathy is characterized by reduced fear response, diminished empathy, shallow affect, and the capacity to engage in harmful behavior without the guilt and anxiety that normally regulates such behavior in normal individuals. What's actually happening in the brain is reduced amygdala reactivity, meaning the internal alarm system that makes violence psychologically hard to deal with is significantly reduced. David's deliberate desensitization program beginning at 14, his awareness of this process, saying, "I watch God to desensitize the part of my brain that feels empathy to the wrong things," and his ability, if the allegations are accurate, to attend a radio interview and album release party within hours of the alleged murder, are all consistent with elevated psychopathic traits. The prosecution's timeline describes someone who moved through the alleged crime and its immediate aftermath in a goal-directed, organized manner, without visible emotional disruption to his public functioning. He saw the murder and the cleanup as a task to get out of the way, rather than a major disturbance to his life. It's important to note that psychopathy exists on a continuum. High psychopathic traits do not predict violence on their own. They represent a reduction in the internal constraints that make violence improbable for most people. You can definitely have psychopathic traits and go through life without killing anyone. But if you had to, or if you believed you had to, it wouldn't be hard for you to mentally.
Check it out. Not check it out. Wait. What the heck was that? Why is like my voice doubling sometimes? What the heck was that? Why is like my voice doubling sometimes? Okay. She just did it again. Doubling sometimes. Okay. She just did it again. Doubling sometimes. Alright, let me do this. Let me do that. Let's see if that works. Hello, let me do that. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that's good. Okay, anyway, bro went to story time. Let's make this quick. What should the story time be about? Oh, I have a good story time. Guys, I know I'm not supposed to scratch my head, but it's just so simple. My head burns. Like this scalp, my scalp right here, itches so bad. Anyway, story time, what can I say? Gotta think. Okay, I remember. Okay, here's one. Okay, one time in school, this is middle school. I dated this girl named Lindsay. So Lindsay, shout out to you. How you doing? Anyway, there was always drama surrounding me and her. Like people like saying, "Oh, she's cheating and stuff," and "Oh, she's planning on breaking up with you." Like I never seen that for myself, right? I mean, of course I wouldn't, but things are popping up. So I stay with her. And like there was like one of her friends or someone that came up to me and they're like, "Oh, she's gonna break up with you and break up with you." But like at this point, I was done with it. And so me, my friend Darius, my friend Serenity, rest in peace, Darius, right? And her, she had her friend there. We were sitting on this giant staircase, right? This staircase was long for no reason to be in the school. That staircase was to be in the school was there for no reason. That's what all the budget. Anyway, so like, I was on top of the staircase, right? And like we were talking, and I said, "Yo, I want to break up with you. Like all this stuff is happening. Like I don't think we should be together. I think we should break up, right? She looks at me, right? She looks me dead in my eye and said, "You broke my heart, Aiden," right? And like younger me, this was middle school. I was like, damn, I don't know how to feel about that, right? But then like I was in the mindset like, yo, I don't care. And so she could have walked up the staircase, right? And like right past me and left. She chose to walk down this long staircase, right? Step by step, all slowly. Like this was a music, not like a music video, like a movie, hoping I would chase after her. And she will pause, look back, continue walking, pause, look back like, so nigga, are you not gonna chase me? Are you not gonna come back and be like, wait, I still love you. Yeah, anyway. That was one of the most awkwardest days of my life in middle school. Like, I just can remember her like looking back up at me. And then after, it was like after, not after school, few days after, right? We were in the auditorium because the bus was running late, like always. And so she came in the door, right? Mind you, she did not ride the bus at all. And she came like over near where I was, like right by me, right up to me. She said, "Have you guys seen my black umbrella? It was sitting over here." So it just so happened to be where I was sitting, right? And guess what? There was no umbrella there. So when I got on the bus, he was like, "Yo, wait, was I the black umbrella?" Because like, hello? There was no black umbrella near us. Like something, she clearly just wanted to talk to me. She wanted an excuse to see me, which like, I get. I'm lovely, that's right. I'm Aiden, I'm him. Actually, let me not be too confident. I'm sorry, Lindsay. But like, that was weird. Like, you know, you low-key miss me. Like, that's what it was feeling like. Anyway, let me not be too cocky. Yeah, that's low-key what it was feeling like. Anyway, there was like so many problems with this girl. And then to get me jealous, she tried to get me jealous with my friend Darius, right? She would stop him, right? She would stop him and she would count out 1 minute. She would make him hug her for 1 minute. And she wouldn't even count fast. She would do Mississippi. She was like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Like, bro, he did not want to hug you. He described that as torture. Like, I don't know why she think dating him would make me jealous because I never seen him dated a girl, but he was low-key. He was getting rough gay vibes or asexual vibes at the time. But so, me being petty, I decided, because there's like this one girl he was always worried about, and that was my friend Trinity. Like, she was very worried about her for no reason. Because my friend Trinity, she liked the girl. She was a nerdy K-pop girl, right? And like, there's a lot to say about Trinity. She would bite me because I didn't like K-pop. But anyway, she was worried that me and Trinity would like low-key date each other and stuff, but we were just friends. And so I decided to like, me and Trinity decided like, yo, we should pretend to be dating, you know, just to make her mad. Because one reason she was worried about Trinity because we would hang out a lot. Like at lunch, we would hang out together, like being near each other, playing Minecraft, hanging out. Like just hanging out. And like she was worried about that. Which on one hand, I get. Your man's hanging out with another girl, having fun, laughing it up, giggling. But on the other hand, it's middle school and your boy's loyal. Okay. So fast forward, she thinks me and Trinity dating, she's mad jealous. And then she apparently set up the stupidest test ever, right? I didn't get lunch this day because like I wasn't feeling hungry. Like I was hungry a bit, but not really. Is that she came near Miss Serenity, right? Like she tried to get all close to her, just to get close to me. And then apparently, okay, she had this food, right? I think it was a bento, if I can remember correctly. Yeah, it was a teriyaki bento. And she tried to feed me, and the test was, if I like let her feed me, well, take some of the food, that means, yo, I still like her. I'm still into her. Which I was not, but I can't lie. It was hungry. I wanted some. So I ate one piece of the meat, right? I ate it, and she thought she liked it, but I did not. I was just hungry. Benji, I'm sorry. I was hungry. I'm not sure if you think that day I liked it you still, but I was hungry. Like, my stomach is low-key rumbling. Like, when it comes to girls, I'm not gonna lie, I have some good, I have some bad experiences. The only good experience I have, right? I won't actually name drop them, but I would say my nickname. A lot of people know my nickname for them. But Emerald, see, that was my rock, right? So like, honestly, that's my favorite ex. I can't lie. Everyone has a favorite ex. That's my favorite ex. So, you know, if you're seeing me run it back, holler out your boy. Holler at you. Actually, no, let me stop. Please disregard that. Not really, but you know, disregard that for these purposes. Babu Bop and Babu. Let's get back to this
process. The best way I see fit to analyzing the rest of his psychology is by answering some common questions surrounding the case. The first is, was David born with psychopathic traits, or did the environment shape him like this? The evidence doesn't support a simple nature or nurture answer, and the research literature on psychopathy doesn't even need one. Studies on antisocial personality disorder, which is the more official diagnosis with traits similar to psychopathy, have found that genetic predisposition is a real factor, but is not determinative, meaning genes do play some part, but it needs more than that. What the developmental history suggests is that David likely had some dispositional features like his elevated sensation seeking, a reduced fear response, a natural tendency towards social observation over social participation that interacted with a profoundly adverse developmental environment. The isolation he experienced in homeschooling removed the social components that normally regulate and redirect dark impulses in adolescence, such as peer feedback, mentorship, romantic experience within age-appropriate contexts, and the reality testing that comes from genuine reciprocal relationships. Basically, when you're in school and you're weird, people are going to tell you you're weird and they're not going to be friends with you, and that's going to cause you to not be weird. The gore consumption, the fantasy elaboration, and the emotional desensitization program didn't occur despite his isolation. They occurred, most likely, because of it. Any genetic psychopathy predisposition might have stayed more muted in a more socially connected environment, but David was given 5 years of uninterrupted space in which to develop it without correction. The next question is, if many children experience homeschooling, many children watch gore, and many children watch anime, and they don't become violent, then why was David different? The answer is not any single factor, but the specific combination and timing of factors, and the absence of mitigating ones. 3 elements distinguish David's profile from the general population of adolescents who share some of his experiences. First, the duration and completeness of his social isolation was extreme. Not partial homeschooling with peer contact, but 5 years of near total isolation during the precise developmental window where identity and empathy are formed through reciprocal relationship. Fair enough if they let him go to some sports clubs and he got to meet people weekly, but he was completely alone. Second, his response to that isolation was not passive, but active, as he built an increasingly elaborate internal fantasy world in which violent romantic narratives were central, and he deliberately used that period to pursue desensitization by watching gore videos. Third, and perhaps most critically, nothing corrected the trajectory. There were no peer relationships to provide reality feedback. There were no teachers or mentors who intervened. When his dark material reached the public, it was celebrated. When law enforcement contacted him directly about a 13-year-old runaway, he found a way around their intervention. The system of natural corrections that normally checks and redirects deviant development failed at every point. Another question is, With his fantasies and music content, did David always have a lust for murder, or did circumstance just cause him to kill in that moment? Neither characterization is fully accurate, despite how wild our minds like to run with
You want me to tell you about Emerald? Am I allowed to say no? Like, can I say no? Please. Like, I don't know. Scott, you already know about her, but all right. Let me get. I gotta. I'll tell you about her. Let me get some like peaceful music going in the background, cause like I can't talk about her in silence. You know what? I'll do this song anyway. So, what can I say about him? Honestly, so for Emerald, like I say, she's the best relationship I had because, like, honestly, she wasn't toxic at all, right? She's actually was understanding. You have one bad experience with this girl, right? So one time we was playing Minecraft together, right? I leveled an entire playing field, right? I'm talking about took the trees down and everything, stacked everything, sorted it in a chest. But this woman right here, he went in the house I built, took every single sapling, and she planted an entire forest. Like there's low-key nothing I couldn't do. She messed up the entire, not messed up, but I had to go back and cut down each tree, and she would just continue doing this. So I just said, yo, I started calling her a crazy tree planter. Like, there's no way you love trees that much. I mean, I needed the wood, but when I tell you, it was like Mr. Beast it's like Mr. Beast came to my world and offered her 10 million. He said, I'll offer you $10 million for every tree you plant. She planted an entire Amazon. Like, come on now. Like, she's like the one ex that I won't talk bad about. I feel like everybody has one ex they won't say anything bad about. Like, some people don't. I haven't found that ex. But yeah, she's that one. But I could definitely say she's my first love. But things about first love is like, I hate that they don't last that long. Or like you meet them too early. Like, those are things that suck. Like, I can't lie. Meeting your first love early, that sucks. But it would shape your personality in ways that you can't explain. Like, it will either help you lock in or destroy you. Like, for me, it kind of did both. I was in the middle. Like, I was locked in, but I also, like, didn't want to do anything because, like, it felt pointless without having her though. The hell's wrong with my mic? But now I can't complain. Like, it happened in the past. I'm not over it, but like, I'm mostly healed from it. You always still want her back? Sometimes, but that's human nature, right? So like, hopefully that's enough story time for now. Let's get back into watching this.
Conspiracy, evidence doesn't support a long-term conscious plan to murder Celeste. There's no indication he groomed her with killing in mind from the outset. What the evidence does support is a sustained internal world in which romantic relationships and fatal violence were thematically intertwined, in which he had deliberately engineered his own emotional desensitization to that violence, and in which he had repeatedly rehearsed, through his music videos, through lyrics, fantasy, and alter ego construction, the psychological experience of killing a partner and feeling nothing. Whether or not he consciously intended to kill Celeste, he had spent years building the psychological infrastructure that made it executable. The prosecution's alleged motive that he was silencing a threat to his career is entirely plausible as a proximate trigger, but the proximate trigger ignited something that had been laid down over a long period of time. A person without that psychological infrastructure, confronted with the same threat, would not have had the same response. They might have offered to talk about things, maybe to pay her off, or something, but not murder. A very common question is, why did he leave the body in his Tesla and then just go on tour? Was it narcissistic overconfidence or something else? There's the theory that he wanted the body to be found so that everyone could appreciate the art of his crime, and whilst psychologically intriguing, it doesn't hold up well against the broader evidence. The prosecution documents a person who used a false name to purchase disposable equipment, drove to Santa Barbara County to destroy evidence the night of the alleged murder, made deliberate false statements to law enforcement, and continued attempting to incinerate evidence months later, as he bought a burn cage in July that he didn't end up using. This is not the behavior of someone wanting the body to be discovered. It's the behavior of someone who believed he was managing the situation competently. The most clinically consistent explanation is indeed narcissistic overconfidence, a well-documented feature of individuals who combine high narcissistic and psychopathic traits. The belief isn't simply "I am above the law" in an abstract sense. It's the belief that the individual's intelligence, status, and resources are sufficient to manage any problem. Leaving the car on the street rather than disposing of it properly is a catastrophic risk assessment failure, but it's consistent with the same cognitive pattern that led him to go to his radio interview the morning after the alleged murder. The operational logic appears to have been, the car is not at my address, it's a few hundred feet away, I'm about to leave on tour, and this is manageable. He definitely thought that Celeste running away all the time was going to play to his advantage, as no one would be looking for her. But when it comes to dead bodies decomposing, you don't look for that smell. The smell finds you.
2 hours, damn.
Chewy Pharmacy delivers pet meds quick, which Chase loves because he has a need for speed.
You know what? I'm gonna stream later tonight because this mic, I gotta figure out why does it keep making me sound robotic sometimes in my ear. Like, anyway, I thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we average 4 more viewers today. Cause if not, I'll be the saddest I've ever been. I'm just kidding. I'm used to this. I ain't new to the game. But this is our time. Like, obviously I could make it longer if I wanted to because no one's stopping me. It's my stream, but I want to lay in my bed for a bit. You know what I mean? I need some uncopyrighted music. Like, no, last time I was like, you know what? I'm not going to end off anything motivational or anything sad, but I'm feeling it. So, okay, it's got a nice Zelda vibe. Guys, we need to go outside more. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what this is giving me. Like, we really need to get back in touch with nature. Like, You should go outside in your front yard, backyard, wherever you have grass. Just walk around barefoot. Go outside to the beach, get your toes in the sand, get wet. Like, enjoy nature. Like, everything's living there, everything's breathing. But we choose to stay inside. We choose to stay isolated. Like, I'm kind of, that's kind of dumb because I'm streaming right now in the comfort of my room, but I take the time to go outside and appreciate nature. I feel like that's something we're all neglect. We neglect go back outside. Everything is technology. So, guys, go outside, have fun. Next stream, I might do it at the beach just to prove I go outside. You know what? I want you guys to enjoy your day, night, or whatever time it is for you. And just have fun. Enjoy life, enjoy living. Okay? Real life, enjoy living. With that being said, ooh, my ear. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I'm out.